Good morning, everyone. We'll start the webinar in next 5 minutes as we are helping few of attendees to join the webinar. Just give us 5 more minutes. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the virtual seminar on tank building for chemical industry. So today's seminar is focused on material section, selection and its application, and this seminar would be presented by Darpan Sejpal, Vice President of Technical Sales of Semi-Finished Department, and I, Anju Nathani, would be assisting him during this webinar from the backend. So we will keep all of you on a mute mode. So if you have any questions or queries during the webinar, we'll have the Q&A session. We'll unmute you at that time, so you can click on the raise hand icon and we'll answer your all queries. So that's it from my side. I look forward for your active participation. Darpan sir, please, mic over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Anju. Can you hear me, Anju?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So I hope all our customers who have attended this session can also hear me loud and clear. From my colleagues, Rohit, can you hear me clearly, Rohit?
I can hear you.
Okay. So thank you very much, and I welcome all my valued customers for taking their time out for this seminar on tank building for chemical industry. Okay, so we are talking about innovations in thermoplastics. As we know, plastics has got a big role in development of the industry, especially when we are talking about handling of the corrosive chemicals and materials, which are giving a lot of problems, in the industry. And industry is always looking for, you can say, optimum solution when it comes to handling corrosive and hazardous materials. So we are going to talk about few of the materials which is used widely and how Rochling can be a partner company to the customers, OEMs, tank fabricators and users, and how we can find a solution for them besides supplier of the semi-finished product. So when we talk about Rochling as a company, we are German. We belong to German multinational company known as Rochling, which are based in Germany. It's nearly 200-year-old company, and we started our activities in India since early 2000. And since early 2000, the company was started by two people, Mr. Manish Moore and Mr. Manoj Kumar. 20 years down the line, there were a lot of investment done in this country, and now we are into manufacturing. Mr. Manoj Kumar is the managing director of the company, and Mr. Manish Moore is the sales director of the company. So as you can see, during the initial days, about 10-12 years, we were basically into trading activities. We used to buy materials from our parent company. We used to stock it in outskirts of Bombay in Bhiwandi, and we used to sell from there. But during the late, you can say 2009, 2010, the parent company felt that yes, there is a need for investment in the country, because country is always demanding for good materials, quality materials. And whatever you do when you are importing the material from Germany, there is always going to be limitations as far as the range is concerned and how much you can stock. The customer requirements are growing every day, the demands are growing every day, and it's practically not possible to stock each and every product. So the group decided that yes, we need to invest, and there was an investment in late 2012, and we decided to buy almost 9 acres of plot in Baroda, and that is how we built up this factory. We now have a manufacturing line for UHMWP, which is known as compression molded sheets. We are also making acetal, known as Delrin, commonly known as Delrin, which is made by a process known as extrusion. We have polypropylene calendering line, which is an advanced form of extrusion. So we have one press, we have 4 extruders, we have 1 calendering machines, and also an in-house machine shop. This unit, Vasai, is now transferred to Baroda, which is basically for our composite division. As far as thermoplastic semi-finish is concerned, we have our sales and marketing office in Mumbai at Khar. This is where my director Manish Moore is based, and we have a team of our colleagues and sales engineers like Rohit and Mr. Manoj Mishra, who is responsible for Western India region. We have an office in Delhi, which is headed by Mr. Jasbir Singh and Mr. Alok Mishra. And we have a technical colleague there known as Ragini, and also a sales colleague, Mr. Daya Yadav. In Pune, we have a resident office where my colleague Rahul is based. In Bangalore, we have a sales office which is headed by Mr. Dipinder Singh, who is also heading our South India region. And of course, this vacancy is currently available in Chennai. We are looking for one colleague in Chennai who had left us. So this is available. We will soon appoint somebody for Chennai and also at other locations where we see customer demands are. Here you can see a small video. I don't know why it's not getting displayed. Yeah. I will now stop the proceedings for the day, where we are going to talk about chemical processing and tank building with advanced thermoplastics. You can see we use this kind of pictures we see this kind of pictures very commonly in the chemical industry, whether it is storage tanks or electroplating tanks or scrubbing systems, fume extraction systems, plating tanks, pickling tanks, etc. So these are basically our topics for the day, that what we as a manufacturer of this material can also support the tank fabricators or tank designers or the end users of how to fabricate these tanks, how to select the material, and what are the best applications where you can use this kind of material for long life. So we are going to talk about material selection, area of application, and we are going to talk about complete system, material selection in the chemical processing industry, applications, and also we are going to talk briefly about the software known as RITA software, which is used for tank designing. It is basically known as Rochling's Tank Integrated Building Assistance. This is a software which is based on DVS 205, which is used to design how to achieve at the thickness of the tanks, whether it is rectangular or whether it is a cylindrical tanks. So we use what are the various applications when you talk about chemical industry. We are talking about tanks for storage of chemicals. We are talking about electroplating plants. We are talking about steel picking plants, the water treatment plants, and also about the exhaust air or cleaning systems. So these are all the areas in the chemical industry which is more prone to corrosion, and that is exactly where there are applications with our material which can be easily workable. Before we go in for any material selection, we need to get this information from your side about what is the media, what you need to store, what is the place of installation, whether it is inside the factory area or outside exposed to direct sunlight. What is the temperature range? You're going for elevated temperature or you're going for sub-zero applications. What are the weathering influences and what are the environmental influences? So these are all the properties what we need from you before we can go and offer you the right grade of material to be used. This is very, very important because you cannot have one material which can be used for all the applications. And when you give us this information, we can process that, okay, this is the input parameter and what can be the best material from our range which can be used for this kind of application. So what we can offer you the sheets which are produced now in our facilities in Baroda. We can offer you the square tubes and U profiles imported from our parent company. We can offer you welding rods. We can offer you the tank designing support, that is RITA. Currently we are working with RITA 4. Expert consultation, whether it is me, my colleague Rohit, or my regional colleagues Dipender, Manoj Mishra, Jasbir, Alok, and also comprehensive database. So there are a lot of information available with us and our colleagues, and which can be shared. And also we can also approach our colleagues from Germany who have a lot of information on the references and the database, and that is where we can provide you the reference list or the case histories as the case may be. When we talk about chemical processing with high performance plastic, we are talking about what are the advantages. We are talking about a very specific plastic material for various kinds of chemicals, whether it is acid application, alkaline application, or even solvent application. All these plastics are weldable, and there is good weldability as per the instructions given in DVS and also European standards. And of course, as per the RITA software, as I mentioned, which is based on DVS 2205, you can have a lifetime in the region of 25 years when the things are designed and fabricated as per the codes and standards. So what kind of plastic or a solution in which case? Brief guideline. So we talk about a material known as Polystone P. This is our brand name for polypropylene sheets. So when we talk about polypropylene sheets, we have three grades of material. We have PPH, or which is known as type 1, which is known as PP homopolymer. We have PPB, block copolymer type 2, and also PPR, which is random copolymer, or it is known as type 3. Now, what is the basic difference between type 1, type 2, type 3? We will just go into some kind of a detail for you to understand that why PPH and not PPB, or why PPR and not PPB. So this will give you some kind of an idea about which kind of metal to be used. So when we talk about a general, you can say chemistry or about the monomer structure, when you have this ethylene monomers in a continuous chains, it is known as polyethylene. Similarly, when you have this propylene monomers in a continuous chain, this is known as polypropylene homopolymer. There is no other material present here in the chain. That's why it is known as homopolymer. What happens in PPB or type 2? You have this ethylene monomers in a chain form, and it is in the block. There are in certain blocks. You have this ethylene monomers in the monomers of propylene. It is known as polypropylene block copolymer. Similarly, when you have this ethylene monomers random in the propylene monomers, it is known as PP random copolymer. Now, this is just to give an idea about what is the difference or what is the monomer structure here. But there are some properties which are added and some properties goes away by doing this kind of formulation. And what it is, we will see that. So when we talk about the tensile strength, PPH has got best of the tensile strength. It is in the region of around 1500 megapascal, followed by PPB, and then followed by PPR. PPR, as you can see, is one of the most softest material in this family, and PPH is one of the most rigid and one of the most stiff material. PPB is somewhere in the middle. When you talk about applications for sub-zero application, this is where you can see PPB is one of the best material, followed by PPR and PPH. But as you can see, these are basically applicable for regions which are having extreme zero temperature weathers, like when it is -10, -20, -30. So when we always ask customer that if you have an application where the temperature is going to go below 0 degrees Celsius, then we would recommend you to go for PPB and not PPH, because PPH has got a property of getting into brittleness when the temperature is below 0. But for tropical countries, for a country like India, we rarely have a situation where the temperature goes below 0 degrees Celsius. So we always have a selection for PPH, because PPH has got the highest of the mechanical strength, and it goes up to 100-degree temperature, and the material is very stiff. So when you are going to make a pickling tank or electroplating tank, these are basically rectangular tanks, and you need a material which is very stiff. So for our kind of applications, we generally go with PPH unless there are some other parameters. So when we talk about creep, what is creep? Creep is a gradual degradation of the material over a period of time. So here you can see these are the creep curves from the DVS, and based on this creep curves, we have designed the RITA software. So as you can see here, say for example 50 years of life, and at 20 degrees Celsius, the metal is still going to have 10 Newton per mm square as the strength, and this is what we call it as minimum required strength. So the material, of course, is going to creep, but it will still have the certain properties even after a substantially long period, and these are the materials we take for manufacturing. So in case of PPH, we have got 10 Newton per mm square. PPB is something in the region of around 8 Newton per mm square. So here you can see the creep is slightly faster. It loses its property faster, but surprisingly in the case of PPR, this is in the region of same as PPH, but you have a much reduced kind of a load because the metal is very soft. So that's why it cannot take a load as what PPH can take. So when we talk about the chemical resistance of the material, generally polypropylene is used where we are going to use mainly hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, phosphoric acid, or even alkaline media. But there are places where, or there are applications where we have nitric acid or a mixture, of certain chemicals, or chromic acid, for example. This is exactly where we would like to avoid polypropylene and go for other materials. Okay, before I go to the next slide, Anju, can you unmute them, and if they have any questions, maybe we can try and have a small window where people can ask their questions, and then maybe we can go to the next slide so that we don't miss any of the queries or questions of the customers. Can you unmute them, please? Yeah.
Anyone have any question? Please click on the hand raise icon so I can unmute them and they can ask a question. Any questions? Okay, we have a question from Amit Jain.
Yeah.
Mr. Amit Jain.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. I just wanted to know, in the previous slide, you mentioned that PPH is not suitable for pure sulfuric acid. Is that correct?
Yes, I can go back again. One second. What I'm trying to tell you, one second. See, this is 96%.
Yeah.
So see, when you are talking about highly concentrated acids, like see, for low concentration, up to in the region of around 80% concentration, polypropylene or PPH works very well.
Okay.
But if you are going for a very concentrated acid in the region of 98%, that is where we have other materials, but not. I mean, polypropylene is not ideal.
Okay.
Yes, but low concentration. I mean, when you talk about steel industry, like they generally do with the low concentration.
Yes.
Maybe in the region of around 12, 15, 20%. And that is where the material works fantastic.
Okay.
And life is in the region of around 20+.
No, my consideration was only with regard to storage tank. If you going in for a sulfuric acid storage tank.
See, if you have 98% sulfuric acid tank, then normal carbon steel tanks are very nice. The problem only starts when sulfuric acid starts, getting diluted because of moisture in the air.
Yes.
That is where the corrosion happens.
Yes.
So for such kind of applications, when it goes less than 98%, say to 97, 96%, the corrosion starts to happen.
Yes.
And that is exactly where we have to go for other materials like or PVDF for that matter.
So, I'm sorry, can you please repeat that?
We have, as we go into the presentation,
yeah,
we have other materials concentration of sulfuric acid storage.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah. Anju, anybody has any other question?
Yeah, we have a question from Mr. Manan Shah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr.
Hello, sir.
Go ahead.
मुझे ये जानना था कि इसका जो हम टैंक बनाते हैं तो वो क्या कितने लीटर कैपेसिटी तक की बन सकती है?
सर देखिए, आपको रेक्टेंगुलर टैंक बनाना है या सिलिंड्रिकल टैंक बनाना है?
दोनों में, यानी वो तो बात की बात है, पर ये तो क्या है कि जस्ट फॉर नॉलेज कि भाई कितने केएल तक हम लोग बना सकते हैं।
इसमें ऐसी तो कोई लिमिटेशन नहीं है सर। देखिए जैसे यूरोप वगैरह में हमने देखा है तो आपके जो सिलिंड्रिकल टैंक्स है, वर्टिकल सिलिंड्रिकल टैंक्स, वो 80,000 लीटर, इवन 100,000 लीटर्स के बनते हैं।
ओके।
तो उसमें डिजाइन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। आपके पास खाली वो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होना चाहिए, उसको वेल्डिंग करना, बट वेल्डिंग मशीन होना चाहिए, आपके पास एक्सट्रूजन मशीन होना चाहिए, आपके पास राइट सेटअप होना चाहिए। तो हम शीट भी आपको दे सकते हैं, आपको 30 mm 40 mm की शीट भी हम दे सकते हैं।
ओके।
as far as rectangular tanks are concerned, तो हम लोग ने काफी प्रोजेक्ट्स किए हैं विद सर्टेन पिकलिंग प्लांट्स, जिसमें 40 mm की शीट होती है और वो 15-15 मीटर के एक टैंक होते हैं। तो टैंक की लंबाई 15 मीटर होती है, उसकी जो विड्थ होती है वो करीबन 2-2.5 मीटर होती है, हाइट 2 मीटर, 2.25 मीटर, 2.5 मीटर, 3 मीटर तक की भी हाइट होती है।
ओके।
तो ऐसा सर, ऐसा कोई उसमें लिमिटेशन तो नहीं है। ऑफ कोर्स व्हेन आई से लिमिटेड, मतलब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि आप, मतलब वो जो बड़ी बड़ी पानी की जो टंकियां हैं 2 लाख लीटर, 5 लाख लीटर, ऐसे तो मतलब ऑफ कोर्स केमिकल में उस तरीके के तो काफी कम यूज होते हैं। बट व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट जनरल केमिकल इंडस्ट्री और इलेक्ट्रोप्लेटिंग प्लांट और वाटर ट्रीटमेंट प्लांट और पिकलिंग प्लांट, उसमें जो नॉर्मली जो टैंक्स होते हैं वो सारे आप इजीली इसमें बना सकते हैं।
ओके।
Yeah. Welcome. Yeah. Any other questions, Anju?
No questions, sir.
Okay. So I will now proceed. Okay. So this is where I had stopped. So what makes our Polystone P different? I mean, as we have discussed on certain points, we have this long-term predictable creep curves for 25 years of life. So when we design the equipment, with your inputs, we take those parameters into consideration so that we know that can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. So even after a considerable long period, the material is still going to retain those properties, for you to give the desired life. The hoop strength class 10 for PPH and class 8 for copolymer. This is because of the pipe grade resins what we use. आपने कहीं पे भी कोई भी इंडस्ट्री में देखा होगा कि पाइप्स ज्यादा फेल होते हैं एज कंपेयर्ड टू अ स्टैटिक टैंक, बिकॉज पाइपिंग के अंदर में आपके काफी लोड्स आते हैं, बट वी यूज द सेम ग्रेड ऑफ रॉ मटेरियल फॉर इवन बिल्डिंग ऑफ द शीट्स व्हिच आर इवेंचुअली मेड फॉर बिल्डिंग ऑफ द टैंक्स. So you can see how much safety we take, while building the sheets, which, because we know these are going to be used for critical tanks. The constant melt flow rate, between, the welding rods and the sheet, and that is because of the perfect material what we are going to use. The high kind of a case references worldwide, no failures because it is designed in accordance with the software. The welding rod, U profiles and sheet, this is what I was meaning to say. It's exactly from the one formulation because everything is made from a particular grade of resins, which are always of a high molecular weight, and that's why you find the perfect formulation. The high heat stabilization, this is a subject I had discussed with a couple of people, that what makes our material different. The difference is because of the stabilization, or what we call its oxidation. Why do the material corrode? Because of oxidation, and because of the stabilizers what we use, we prevent, or you can say we slow down the process of acceleration, and that is how we are able to assure a higher life for the material. The sheets are available in wide range of dimensions and modifications. The sheets what we produce in Baroda in our facilities here, these are available in size of 1220 by 2440 mm, 1500 by 3000 mm, and 2 meter by 4 meter, that is 2000 by 4000 mm. But of course, there is also possibility to make customized sheets, but there has to be a certain MOQ. We generally have a MOQ in the region of 8 to 10 tons per thickness. If you need a kind of a sheet which is having a dimension of 2.2 meter by 8 meter, for example, and 20 mm thickness, that can be produced. That is absolutely, we need to do certain changes in our machine, but it can be produced. But again, it cannot be only a couple of sheets. We need to talk to the production, and then production gives us a particular quantity, and we have to produce that much. Also, special pallets are required because all these sheets go in a kind of a pallets. So if you need any customized sheets, then we have to also consider there is a costing effect also on that. But that can be always checked with us or any of our colleagues. Full traceability, each and every sheet comes with a film, which you will see in the picture later, and also with the kind of a sticker which mentions the lot number, batch number for any kind of future traceability. All the sheets are coming with the perfect cuts, on all the 4 sides, perfect rectangularity. Knowledge from the industry, thanks to our industry experts, as we are assisted by them, and with the highest kind of design calculation, RITA software experts, etc. So this is how a sheet comes out from the machine. You can see a film on one side. This is also for authenticity, that the sheets are perfect Rochlin sheets, because many a times customer are fooled by just matching the color, but matching of the color is not going to give you the performance. That is only aesthetics, but basically the formulation is going to play a role. And please ensure that whenever you get a sheet, from anybody, from us or from any trader or any distributor, you always have the film on the sheet, so that shows that these are genuine sheets, and these are one-time kind of a sheet. So once you remove the film, then you cannot put it back. So this is very important. What are the typical applications for our material or for Polystone P? As you can see, these are widely used for the electroplating industry. We call this as galvanic industry. As you can see, these are some of the plants, various pictures. If plating is done everywhere, whether it is Korea or whether it is Turkey, but we have some of the pictures to give you an idea. These are again some of the pictures of a copper coating line and also anodizing tanks. One of the person just mentioned to me, how long the tanks can be made. Here you can see these are the sheets which are 16-meter long. So you can make without any joint, you can make a tank of 16-meter long with just 4 joints elsewhere on the 2 sides and on the edge. So this is not a problem. Even from our facilities, we have so far produced sheets which are 12-meter long. Only thing is transportation angle has to be seen, how long the transporter can handle the sheets, and whether you have the facilities at your workshop to handle such kind of sheets. So once you have that facility, we can also produce the sheets in customized dimensions, so that you can save on your labor and other things. This is about a carbon steel pickling line. As you can see, this is for hydrochloric acid at 80 degrees temperature. But generally, as I mentioned in earlier, these are low concentration, because low concentration is more corrosive. But these are used for steel pickling lines. This is a more complex chemistry or handling of HFHNO3 at 65 degrees C. You can see these are the tanks which are having sloping bottom. These are basically made from 40 mm thick sheets. In India, just to mention, India, we make sheets from 4 millimeter to 30 millimeter. And above 30 millimeter, we have to import from our parent company. Fume scrubbers. Here, as you can see, we generally recommend you to go for material which is UV stabilized. We have in our range Polystone P homopolymer as well as copolymer sheets which are UV stabilized. So when you are having any outside exposure, whether it is ductings or blowers or chimneys or scrubbers, better to go with the UV sheets, so that there is no detrimental effect to the material when it is exposed to direct sunlight. Some of the pictures for the ducting systems and the blowers. These are basically inside the plant to avoid the fumes, getting spread in the atmosphere and where people are working. These are some of the pictures of water treatment tanks, whether it's a mixing tank or a clarification tank, rectangular or round tanks. This is one of the prestigious project, what we did for Audi in Mexico. This is a color coating line supplied by KTL. And you can see this entire tank, which is around 52-meter long. This was built with our material of roughly, I believe, 25mm thickness. And you can see there is a complex network of piping inside. The entire body of the car, before it goes for the treatment, gets into this tank for the process of cleaning and purification, of the surface of the metal, so that it is absolutely clean and there is a good adhesion between the color, or the anti-rust paints, So this is to ensure this tank was built, and it was really a nice project what we did. As you can see, the entire tank has been fabricated at site. We have another material in our product portfolio, which is Polystone G. This is basically HDP, or high density polyethylene. So like what we see in polypropylene, PPH, PPB, PPR, similarly we have standard HDP, we have P100, which is known as Polystone G Black B100, and we have the same material with RC, that is resistance to stress cracking. Yeah, this is just a small way of explaining what is LDP, MDP, HDP, etc. But HDP is mainly used in the chemical industry. And again, here, molecular weight is one of the criteria of selections. So we always use a high molecular weight polyethylene, so that it provides better weldability and better, kind of mechanical strength when you make this kind of equipments. Similar creep curves, this is P80, where you have 8 Newton per mm square, whereas more recent materials P100, which is used for the chemical industry, which is 10 Newton. But again, here I can tell you that there is a general perception that if it is for the chemical industry, we need to use P100. Well, yes, it is applicable for certain conditions, but not 100 out of 100 conditions. We at times can also go with the P80, which is standard HDP, because P100 is also an expensive material, and also we need to forecast the availability in advance. So what I'm just telling you, if you have any requirement of HDP, please write to us whether P100 is required, or it can also work with P80. These are some of the pictures, of how the stress cracks develop in a chemical tank with a low quality of HDP sheets. You can see basically near to the weld joints, you will always see the cracks. And basically this is what is avoided in our material when you use a good quality of HDP sheets and right welding rods. The chemical resistance of Polystone G or HDP is very similar to polypropylene. In some cases it's marginally better, some cases it's average, but mainly it is used for both acidic and alkaline atmosphere. But again, for high concentration of sulfuric acid and nitric acid, we would not recommend this material, and we can go with Pvdf or Traceability range of materials. Just like polypropylene, even a care is taken while selection of the raw material in case of Polystone G, so that there is no claims and there is no kind of leakages, etc. in the tank when it is designed as per the software. As I had mentioned, for 80% of your application, standard HDP or Polystone G it works very well. Only in some of the application we necessarily have to go for P100 or Polystone G Black B100, but we can select the material which is required as per the application demand. Typical applications of Polystone G, yes, you can see this is for the storage tanks. This is used widely across Europe. This is a 80,000 liters capacity tank, maybe having a diameter of 4.2 meter and a height in the region of around 5.5 to 6 meter. So this is very perfect, very easy to make it, very fast to make it, and very easy to handle it. Some of the advantages: it's more flexible as compared to polypropylene homopolymer. It has got a slightly enhanced resistance to hydrochloric acid, and also it is UV resistance. So these are some of the advantages we have when we are talking about the round tanks. These are some of the pictures, of production of a zinc production line, where there was a material PRC was used, P100 RC. This is basically resistance to stress cracking. like polypropylene, even polystone G is used widely for the water treatment application in terms of construction of tanks, desalination plants, drinking water. And both our material, polystone G and polystone P, have approval of KTW W270 ACS, so that there is no contamination when people use it for potable water. Yeah. Cleaning systems or the scrubbers, like what we see in polypropylene, similarly, it can be also built in HDPE cleaning systems. Okay, so many a time people will say what to use, whether we should go for which can be our first choice of selection, whether it is polyethylene or polypropylene. So yeah, here are some of the ready reckoners. So there is a comparison here: PPH, PPB, PPR, and P100. Well, I can tell you maximum of the times for the Indian conditions, people generally go with PPH, because this has got one of the nice temperature range from 0 to 105 degrees Celsius. P can be used when you have got sub-zero applications. Again, 80 is the maximum, but generally HDP works very well up to 60 degrees Celsius. As I mentioned, when you have the properties of impact and low temperature, then you need to go for PPP. But again, you will see here some kind of analysis, about the impact, about the MRS class, and about the operating temperature. But the best way would be to talk to us or to write to us, so that we can give the exact kind of a feedback, that which is the best material. See here, when you see for building of rectangular tanks or a pickling tank or plating tank, PPH is one of the best metal, because it has got the highest of the mechanical strength, 1400 megapascal, whereas everything else is less. So this also becomes one of the most economical material to use and the best. So this is the optimum material. Rest are all case to case requirement of the material. Yeah, permissible edge expansion. This is mainly used for building of a cylindrical tank. So when you talk about HDPE as compared to PPH, here you can see when you want to build a cylinder or a round kind of a tank, you need to consider this permissible edge expansion. So in case of HDP, you can go up to 1%. In case of PPH, 0.5, PPB is 0.75, PPR is 0.1. What does this mean? That if you have 20 mm as a thickness, if the edge expansion is 1%, then you can make a cylinder of 2 meters. Similarly, if you have a 20 mm thickness, and if you want to make, if you want to have 0.5% as the edge expansion, then the diameter has to be 4 meters, so that you do not have a problem of V-notch creation on the outside surface of the sheet. But again, this is what we want the customers to follow. But if you have, say for example, a tank which is a 3 meter diameter, and if you want to build from 20 mm thickness, then you need to reduce the stress level, and you have to build and you can still make a circle. But that is where we need some kind of interaction with you, and we can explain to you that how you can do that, maybe by heat bending, or maybe by making the sheet slightly more elastic. That is where you can make the cylinders. Okay, before I go to the next chapter, that is PVDF, if anybody has any questions, we can discuss that. Anju, can you unmute them, please?
Anyone have any questions? Please click on the raise hand icon, please. Any questions? No questions.
Okay, so we will proceed.
1 minute, sir. I can see
Yeah.
one. Yeah, Mr. Suresh TG.
Yes, madam. Can you please explain that expansion you said, no? The previous
Yes.
slide.
Yes. Once again. Okay, you're telling about this permissible edge expansion?
Yes.
Hello? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. Let me go slightly deeper. See what happens, when you have a sheet, and when you are trying to bend a sheet and make a circle, so you need to follow certain properties. What I'm trying to tell you is that when you are bending it, the outside surface of the sheets will have a V-notch creation. if the sheet is kind of a stiff, like polypropylene sheets are stiff sheets, homopolymer sheets especially. This has got tensile strength, one of the highest tensile strength. But if you try to bend it, then there will be a V notch creation. So when you are going to make a cylinder, this is only applicable. First of all, I would like to clarify here. This is only applicable if you want to make a cylinder out of a sheet.
Okay, okay.
When you're trying to make a cylinder out of a sheet, you need to consider that if you have a wall thickness of say 20 millimeter, and if you're going to have HDPE as a material, then you can roll a 2-meter diameter. You can also do that with 0.5. You are violating the norms of edge expansion, but as I mentioned, there is a process by which you can reduce the internal stress of the sheet, and then you can roll it. But at normal level, I mean the normal operating level, you need to follow this edge expansion. So if you have a 4-meter diameter for PPH, then you can easily roll 20 mm. But if you have a diameter less than 4 meters, say 3.4 meter or 3 meter, you can still roll it, but you have to take certain care and precaution by which you are able to reduce the internal stress of the sheet. You make the sheet more flexible, and then you can roll it. So that is where exactly our expertise come into picture. We guide the customer how you can do this process by which you avoid the creation of V notch. Because if you don't follow this, then there is a possibility of tank getting V notch at the outside, which is not good for any kind of plastic equipments. Am I able to clear your doubt, sir? Yeah. Okay.
Thank
you. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else has any questions?
No questions, sir.
Okay. So we will proceed ahead, and if anybody recalls anything, we will again stop after a couple of minutes, and then you can ask me your questions. Okay, so we go on to another material, which is Polysome Pvdf. Pvdf basically stands for Polyvinyline Fluoride. This is basically belonging to the family of PTFE, but this is a weldable grade of PTFE. So PVDF is used mainly for very high and corrosive applications like high concentration of acids. It is outstanding when it comes to acid handling and solvent. This is also a flame retardant material. This can work from -10 to +150 degrees Celsius. High mechanical strength and stiffness.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry, Mr. Suresh TG has again some questions.
Yeah, tell me, Mr. Suresh.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, can you hear me? I am Sarvana, sir.
Yeah. Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
Sir, the Sharpie flat-based impact test, Sharpie edge-based impact test. How often you have to do this?
It's just I mean, it again depends on application. What exactly is your application, sir?
It's a chemical cabinet making.
You're making
chemical
cabinets.
distribution cabinet. Yes, for chemical distribution system.
Okay. And what is the temperature range you have?
So we have chosen PPH sheets, sir.
Yes. I'm telling what is your operating temperature range?
Temperature is up to 150 degrees Celsius.
You mean to say dry temperature or liquid temperature?
Oh, I don't know operating temperatures, sir. New to this.
Okay, these are basically for furnitures, if I'm right. Am I right? Lab furnitures.
Okay, sir.
No, I'm just asking you. You're basically into lab furnitures, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir, exactly, sir. It's a lab equipment.
Yeah. So, see, basically, each and every lot, it is tested for the impact requirements. But in your application, I don't think impact. See, the impact what we're talking about is basically for sub-zero application. When the material goes below 0 degrees Celsius, it shrinks, and because of the inherent properties of the material, shrinkage is often, if not taken care properly, it can result in brittleness. So that is exactly what we need to avoid. But when we are operating on above 0 degrees temperature, at that time the material behaves perfectly well. So those impacts we need to only take care if it is sub-zero application.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Am I clear, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome, sir. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we were talking about PVDF. PVDF currently, we all know, is currently under huge shortage, and the demand has gone up exponentially. So even the raw material manufacturers are not able to commit deliveries. But we do believe that in the time to come, the raw material people will enhance their capacity and we will be able to get more material. Time being also, we are getting material, but very, very sporadically. And of course, the prices have gone through the roof. But still, there are projects we are doing in PVDF. So if anybody of you have got any inquiries of PVDF SK sheets or GK sheets, you can always write to my team, and we will make our best attempt to see to it that we are able to deliver the material. So this is something which is not produced in India. We get it from our parent. Being very, very expensive material, PVDF is available in two variants. You have a base material of say 3 mm, 4 mm, and it is backed up with a fabric, either SK or GK, so that it adheres to or bonds to the other metal like fiberglass or steel to make the equipment more optimal. PVDF is mainly used for high concentrations of acid or mixed acids or even sulfuric acids. As you can see here, it is not a material to be used when you have the caustic environment or you have the alkaline media. Alkaline media, PVDF has got limitations. So please talk to us if you have got any such kind of, because this is a very expensive material and we don't want customer to buy this material and they use it for any other application and they say that it's not working. That should not happen. So please talk to us, if you have got any such applications, and we can give you the clear kind of recommendation. What are the typical applications of PVDF? It is mainly used as an inliner for dual laminated tank to save the cost. So you have got PVDF SK 3 mm inside and outside is fiberglass. For the plating equipment, mainly for chrome plating, etc. Here you can see this is for hard chrome plating. You've got a PVDF tank, and a rinse section basically goes with HDP or a P100 tanks. It is used in the clean room and semiconductor industry. Some of the pictures here. Yeah, and then we are going with a material known as Providur. Providur basically stands for UPVC and CPVC, that is unplasticized material and chlorinated PVC material. So we have this two material here, Providur EN and NL. EN basically is extruded natural sheet, and NL stands for press sheet. These are both used for chloralkali projects where you are handling hypochlorite, etc., and also in sections of brine, etc., brine handling, etc. Both these material are weldable. It is having excellent chemical resistance, and it is very well for adhesive bonding and as well as welding. Compression NL is a compression molded sheets because it has got the lowest of the additives, so that you have the excellent chemical resistance. So this is also again used in some of the areas of chloralkali plants. So these are the areas where you find a lot of application for Providur EN and Providur NL. That is high concentration of sulfuric acids, nitric acid, chromic acids, and in chloralkali, of course, used for chlorine water, sodium hypochlorite, sodium hydroxide, and also hydrochloric acid. These are the inliners, as you can see in the dual laminated tanks, and outside is fiberglass. Some of the scrubbing towers. You can also get Providur sheets in a transparent form. These are the transparent PVC sheets. And now we can go with some special products, like you have a polypropylene, which is electrically conductive polypropylene, which is flame retardant. PVDF, of course, is also a V0 fire rating as per UL 94, and then you've got Providur range. Mainly, these are used in an environment where there is possibility of static charge and resulting in fire. But when you've got PPS, it eliminates the buildup of a static charge. and then you avoid the fire hazards. This is one of the material ideal for the covers. We call it as foam light. This is 30% lighter than standard polypropylene because it has got a core in between. These are used basically for the covers. Some of the photographs of this kind of covers. This is a material known as safe tank, which are basically used in the walkway in the chemical area or a tank farm area, so that there is no slippages. You have this kind of cubing grain surface, on the top, so that people are able to walk clean the surface, and there are no kind of places where people can slip. We call it as an anti-slip kind of a surface. This is a material known as P-Flex. This is basically a very, very flexible form of polypropylene sheets, which are basically used as a bellow kind of to have this expansion contraction between the tanks, and to avoid the collection, the dripping of the material, or to collect those kind of chemical which can invariably corrode the floor. We're talking about the software, that is Rosling Integrated Tank Building Assistance. The first software was developed in 2002, and now it is used in more than 30 countries. In India also, I think we have sold about half a dozen of this software. The software is used for designing of round tanks and rectangular tanks. The cost of the software is something in the region of 6,000 euros. And if anybody is interested, you can always approach us, and we'll be too pleased to give you all the technical supports, etc., all the demos, etc., for you to know how you can use this software. It is officially approved by TÜV, who has authenticated that all the modules of Rita software are in line with DVS 2205. So when you take the printout as per DVS 2205, it is, or it can be submitted to any of the engineering companies or the consultants, and make sure that they won't have any queries because it is authenticated by TÜV. So you can make a cylindrical tank or a rectangular tank, with vertical yokes, horizontal stiffness. Yeah, you can do this. Yeah, that comes to the end of my session today. But I'm always available. These are my contact details. You can get in touch with me anytime. But before concluding, I would like to know, is there any specific questions you have, anything in mind at this stage? Or even later on, you can approach us. You can call me, write to me. Yeah. Anju, can you unmute them so that if they have any questions?
Any questions, anyone? Please click on the raise hand icon if you have any questions. Yeah, we have one question here from Mr. Suresh.
Yeah.
Hi sir, this is Sagar from UHP Technology, Bangalore.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are making different kind of enclosures for our chemical applications. We are making some chemical enclosure for HCl, HNO3, H2O2, H2SO4, and for KOH purpose. And
Okay.
I think recently also we bought many sheets from Rosling, that 1.5
Yes.
meter by 3 meter. But
Yes.
what we have found, some seeds are bends, right, from the middle of the seeds.
Okay.
Then while cutting and while fabricating or while welding, we are facing some issues. So can you tell me the reason?
I need to understand whom are you in touch with, sir, in our company?
Dipendra.
Dipender, do you have any idea, background of this subject?
No, sir, we have not received any such complaints or any concern.
Okay, let me discuss with our quality people and we'll
Okay,
get back to you.
please.
And
Of course.
one more important thing, see, we are using 3 mm and 4 mm PP electrode, right? That is,
Yes.
that is cylindrical, that electrode is there. So can
Correct.
we get some triangle rod so it will be easy for welding and we can cover everything?
Of course, it is available. We also have a triangular welding rod 80-5,
Yes.
which is also been used by the customers. I mean, if you get in touch with Dipender, he can give you the samples, and you can definitely make a try. And of course, triangular welding rods are also used by a lot of tank fabricators, and also for enclosures, you can also use them.
And the cover sheets you are telling.
Yeah, that is that protective films both side is there, no problem.
Better thickness you want.
Yeah, no problem. Only both sides required. And I think in future we are having many order from our customers. So we
Okay.
are looking for good quality and good cutting quality. I think
Okay.
recently also we received more than 180 or seats in our factory.
Okay. Yeah. Always let us know, sir. If at all there are any issues somewhere, we need to understand that, and we can always give you a solution to that. Absolutely, we are available. You also have my number, and I, at least once in a quarter, I also visit with my regional colleagues. Our area heads. So next time, whenever you are available, I will line up my visit with Dipender, and we can definitely make a visit to you. Absolutely right. No problem.
We will invite once our enclosures are ready. We will invite, so you can suggest where we can increase our quality, because we have export many enclosures in outside of the India, and in
Okay.
India I think in the coming another 1 year we want to make more than 100 enclosures. I guess so. We want to
Perfectly
improve
right.
our quality, so you can help us. You can visit and you can check where we are lagging. So that's what we want.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah. So I'll line up the things next time. Dipender, can you please make a note of this so that we can discuss this in our regular meetings?
What kind of we are having extrusion machine that Lester make, electrode, and we are having many machines. But if you suggest, okay, you can use this machine, so you can with the help of this machine you can increase your welding quality. So it will be help us to improve our quality.
Yes. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We'll do this.
We will start our work by August 10. So by that time we'll call you. You can visit in our factory.
Perfectly right, sir. Perfect. I also made a note, sir, and you can also drop me a mail separately, me and Dipender, and we can line up the things, sir. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
One thing, Sagar sir, you are sitting at a factory, sir.
Yes, in a Bangalore factory.
Okay, so Mr. Saravanan is also there with you, I guess.
Yes. Saravanan, Suresh sir, and me, and many people are there.
Yeah. So what we can do, I mean, if you have any, because I have interacted with Mr. Saravanan for welding and everything. So if there is any query, we can have a different session altogether, and then we can sort it out either physically. I mean, we can present there, or like last time also I have suggested, if it is required, we can come down there and we can see all this thing, or we can do online also.
Sure, no problem.
So if you are comfortable, you can just write to me, sir, and then we can find out all these things, what information all you require. So we will try to fulfill from our side.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Any other questions from anybody else?
Any questions, anyone? No questions.
Okay, fine. So let me just thank everybody for sparing this time and giving us an opportunity to represent ourselves. So any point of time, we are always available. Would request you to please make note of my details on the screen, and always feel free to get in touch with us. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for attending this seminar, everyone. The recording of the session would be available by tomorrow. So if you have missed something, I can give you. You can mail it to me or contact the sales representative who's handling your account. Thank you so much. Bye bye, everyone. Have a nice day.
Bye.